All right, this week on Barbell, I'm starting.
Hey you, have you felt like this before? You got style but ain't got soul. Are you happy now?
This week on Broken Barbell, we're talking about PEDs, steroid use, ergogenic aids, and anything else in your environment that might make you a better athlete, legally or probably illegally. To the best of our knowledge, anyway, because we're not good at that. We're just pure athletes, and it's a curse.
Yeah.
But that's what we do. So, Tom, you like the big sciencey words. Go.
Okay, so ergogenic aid. Can I say that properly?
Ergogenic aids.
That's the one. It's basically anything that you can do outside of your body to enhance yourself. So steroids, supplements, caffeine, anything that's going to make you more effective and more efficient with your training. So a good example, funny story about this one, vitamin B3, niacin.
This is a good kickoff.
Yeah, I was reading an article by Bob Tucano.
That's right, it's nice. I should know. Okay.
Niacin, yeah.
Hi.
Article by Bob Tucano. He was talking about, this one was kind of funny. He was talking about how people spend too long with their warm-ups and essentially waste energy so they're not as effective in their workouts, which is, I think, a good point. It's something most people don't consider. But he mentioned how the Russian weightlifters would drink niacin, which is liquid B3.
And it's in chicken and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
so completely, it's a vitamin, right? Normally you get it from food. Most people get enough from the food they eat. You can take it as a supplement. I wouldn't recommend that. You don't want to supplement.
As we now know.
There is a side effect called the niacin flush, which is actually what the Russian weightlifters wanted because it's a vasodilator, which means it increases the size of your capillaries and veins and stuff like that. Increases your blood flow.
Tom is still in denial that he isn't a Russian.
Yeah, he just wants to be. He's actually
just in spirit.
an old Soviet Union spy.
Yeah.
He never got deprogrammed.
But anyway, they would drink this because it would increase their blood flow and it would warm them up so they wouldn't have to do anything for their actual warm-up, right? So I thought, okay, I'll give this a shot. So I went and bought some tablets. If you're going to take it, make sure you take it in the right dosage. The recommended daily ounce is 20 milligrams. The tablets I bought from Nutters were 500 milligrams.
Wow.
So I'm not sure why they sell them that big. But yeah, so I took the tablet and nothing happened for about an hour and a half. I went to bed and then I was just falling asleep and I woke up and I'm super itchy and super hot. And I go in the bathroom and turn the light on and I am like bright red, like I look like a lobster from head to toe, and it's because it's working.
Soviet Union red.
Yeah, exactly. Side effect of the niacin flush is an amazing vasodilator. So, yes, increased blood flow, so that does warm you up a lot, but it can also make you very dry and very itchy, and that lasts for about 15 to 20 minutes. But after that goes away, you feel very good.
You have the
very
best advice ever, Tom, because so far with the warm up thing that we talked about like the other week, you're like, yeah, you probably do 15, 20 minutes. Or take vitamin B3 so you don't have to.
Yeah.
And then that'll compound with your sit on your ass, cool down.
Yeah. It's about being efficient, right? But that's an example of an ergogenic aid. It's a vitamin that's used as a vasodilator because it reduces your warm-up time, increases your training efficiency. And I think being in a state where you are vasodilated just
saves your
increases
energy.
blood flow.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, it can save your energy.
Well, it saves the energy from the warm-up. And we talked about your warm-up shouldn't be intense enough. But yeah. Same thing, like another idea of that would be, like, people like to take pre-workouts and things. I think we touched on this. I don't remember. But people like to take pre-workouts and whatever the hell's in that. I mean, it's just a load of chemicals.
Yeah.
We talked about, we do like that. We do find that it helps. I got John North thing that I watched. It was like some of his vlogs or whatever. He put 3 scoops in a cup. Filled that halfway up the cup, like not even full, and then he took like a fingerful and like rubbed it on his gums like Coke.
Well, I mean, that was his thing for a little while, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it still is.
Yeah, probably is.
Coffee.
Yeah, but I like having, like, if it's, not ridiculous warm, I'll have a cup of coffee during or before my workout, and I feel great with that.
Yeah.
But I'm a caffeine addict. And
yeah, me
it hurts
too.
my head. So those are some ergogenic aids, but then you get into like steroid use.
Yeah.
So big muscle dummy kind of things where you see people raging out, and if everybody kind of says, "Oh, hey, that guy's jacked. He must be taking steroids." Now that's just kind of like a really sad way to just discount what you're doing.
Yeah. It was actually funny. I watched a video. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have watched this with Dorian Yates, probably one of the best bodybuilders in history.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about his steroid use and that he wasn't abusing it, like, let's be honest, he was doing it when he was training and a little bit when he was in his off season just to help his recovery and his muscle mass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course there's going to be side effects. I mean, whether you're taking a drug over the counter, whether it's steroids, but he made a very good point. He said his bodybuilding partner took so much, I don't know, it was either aspirin or some type of over-the-counter medication you can just buy at any drugstore, took too many and it burnt his stomach lining, and now he has to go in for surgery.
Really?
And Dorian Yates said for his whole bodybuilding career, he was using steroids, no side effects.
Really?
No
Lucky fuck.
no crazy amount.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, as long, and this is
Adverse side effects.
Yeah.
Not that they didn't work.
Yeah.
Adverse side effects. Right.
Yeah, and this is something you have to keep in mind, that steroids are really just like any other drug. If you use it properly, it's going to work and it's not going to hurt you, right?
Yeah.
And that's why, again, kind of break some illusions here maybe. Olympic athletes do steroids.
Yes.
There's a very good documentary on YouTube called If You Don't Take It, You Won't Make It.
Yeah.
And that's about Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
And how pretty much every other athlete he raced against and beat also failed a drug test at some point before, during, or after the Olympics.
Yeah. But he's the one who got nailed for it because he decided to win.
Exactly. Right? So a lot of high-level athletes, I wouldn't be surprised, NFL, NBA,
Oh, yeah,
everything
absolutely.
like that, right?
And the thing is, when we say steroids, we don't just mean you inject this in your body, you get crazy big biceps, and then you're just you can't move, but you're so muscular.
Yeah.
A lot of these things are just used to increase performance.
Increase recovery.
Increase recovery is huge.
Yeah.
Because that speeds up the muscle, like just that muscle hypertrophy in
Yeah.
it, bringing everything back.
The nutrients back to life.
Yeah, exactly. Just feeding the muscle better.
And a lot of banned substances, I think, that, again, this is that misconception that you take steroids, you're going to get big. That's not the case. If you take enough steroids, if you eat enough, and if you train properly, you will. You can definitely gain size. You can gain a lot of size doing steroids. But I mean, like I said, it's more for the recovery aspect of it than for the hypertrophy aspect.
There's so many different types of steroids that do different things. There's some steroids that really target recovery, but then there's steroids that also work with muscle mass.
Well,
and they also said, depending on what you're training on and what your nutrition looks like, they don't always depend on the steroid.
Yeah.
These guys are working out. These guys are eating right.
They're still a slave to their craft.
Exactly.
I mean, you're not going to out-eat a bad diet. A steroid literally is a supplement. So it could be an injection to be an illegal bodybuilder. It could be to help low testosterone levels, which is an actual medical condition.
Exactly. Yeah,
it can help bone growth with people with osteoporosis.
People with AIDS. A lot of them because autoimmune diseases and stuff like that. So that's kind of, again, this double standard where if you use it in a certain context, it's all right. Yeah. But as soon as you start using it to enhance your performance, it's bad.
It's just a big, bad, scary word. That people has that fucking roid rage. I mean, remember Chris Benoit? Remember when he went fucking, this is bad. Remember when he went crazy and killed his whole family because of roid rage?
Yeah.
Those are not the ones you want to take. You don't want to take them anyway.
It will mess up. It will definitely give you aggression.
Yeah.
That's something you really got to control. Another thing that Dorian Yates said is he did get very aggressive, but he was able to channel it towards his training.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling pissed, just go to the gym.
Please lift weights.
Don't kill
somebody's
your family.
head off of their spine.
Well, there's that.
Don't kill your family.
Another really good documentary is Bigger, Stronger, Faster. Bigger, Faster, Stronger.
Yeah, just had another
that was a really good documentary.
And
one of the best.
Yeah, that was by Mark Bell's younger brother, right? Older brother.
Younger brother.
No, older brother.
Was it older?
Older brother? Yeah, older brother. Chris Bell?
Yeah, I think that's his name.
I think that he was the one. And it's about basically him and his brothers, and it's about steroids and how they took them and the culture around and stuff like that. And he made the good point, I think it was him or somebody was talking to in the documentary, made the point that steroids basically amplify everything about you. So, I mean, including your attitude and your psychological state sometimes. Right?
Hallucinogenic drugs, you don't want a bad trip on your steroids. So
just talking about how they work and stuff like that. But really good documentary. I would really recommend watching that. Where were we? So high level athletes do it.
Anybody does it. The thing is, Oh, go ahead.
It was just funny. Speaking of the documentary, I just loved it because, Hulk Hogan advertised, just take your vitamins and eat right and you'll get big. But no, at the end of the day, everyone is taking steroids.
Something.
There's something.
Taking
Not necessarily steroid. Performance enhancing drug or ergogenic aid.
Yeah.
So the thing is, with high level athletes, like what makes them so good. I mean, among a great many things, what separates an athlete from just a regular professional athlete, an Olympian athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, is what I meant to say. Is they're just ahead of the curve. Like their doctor knows what the IOC isn't testing yet.
Yeah.
Well,
and like people have admittedly said this, like, oh yeah, I took that. It's illegal last year, but I got my gold medal, so they can't take it away now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's that guy we used to work with, Ryan, who sat in on he told me he sat in one time on an actual drug screening process before a weightlifting competition, and he was so they like take the sample or whatever and they'd run it through the machine and appear on this graph, and if it peaked at a certain point, they knew that they were on something, right?
Yeah.
And the guy who was running it, he was like looking at it, and it peaked, and then went down, and it peaked again, so it was spiking at these points, and he said he's taking something, but he's got it masked with an agent, so another drug, masking agent, that disguised it, so it was peaking just before
it was supposed
or
to.
just after. So they knew he was on something, but
it wasn't
still passed
definitive
the
enough.
test.
Yeah.
See, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it takes sometimes.
So I think it's almost to the point where people should just be on it. I think that's the thing that gets me. If you take steroids and lie about it, I disagree with that. If you take them and you're open about it,
That's my favorite
What's the
thing
big
about
deal?
baseball, right? Like those fucking guys. I mean, whatever. I do like the idea that they should take it because I'd like to see fucking home runs. And
yeah. Well, and that's a good example of it's not necessarily steroids. It's
that's meant for. I think that's more meant for recovery because these guys, besides Barry Bonds, they're not big. A-Rod looks like your dad, you know.
but
Yeah.
and it's because they use what are they called? Speed pills or something like that. There's a name for it. Amphetamines.
Oh yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Because it boosts their recovery time or reflexes. Sorry. So there's less steroids there, and it's the pill they use. It's not a steroid. The big one. It's something that just boosts their mental state, right? So.
Yeah.
Not a steroid.
Just living a little more vividly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like when I used to play high school football, and I remember this.
Wow. Okay. Sylvan Lake High School football.
Yeah, this is as good as it gets.
Fucking 16-year-olds.
Yeah, epinephrine.
Yeah, that's...
You guys would take epinephrine at
I took epinephrine
16.
before football and rugby games, and that shit was... I remember it was so funny
And
because
epinephrine
I
is
was going to the
just
gym.
For everybody who doesn't know what epinephrine is.
Look it up.
Adrenaline. It's just adrenaline.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a pre-workout, and this mom was like, "Oh, you shouldn't be taking that. That's really bad stuff. There's so many chemicals in it." And I listened to her. I was like, "Yeah, okay." But then when I got into the change room of the Lakers, and I was ready to go into the field, here, take 2 of these. Okay.
Yeah, well,
to be honest,
all right,
it helped.
coach. Yeah.
I bet.
It was
did,
It was
yeah.
awesome. I loved it.
Looks like the Matrix. Everything's just
Yeah.
Fucking everything's in binary code now. It's funny because there is like that misconception again. Like we were in the truck, we were on a camping trip, and one of our buddy's dads got in the back, and there was a can of protein powder there because we were on a camping trip. We needed that, just extra.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What are you boys taking fucking steroids now?"
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's off the shelf protein.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
it's
there's a big misconception. I
oh,
laugh. when people
epinephrine is
say
a
stuff.
natural drug.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. They won't
I don't know
test you
if
for
it's-
excess epinephrine. They just
No.
can't though.
Yeah, and
Because
there's
that's your kidney function. being
there's
well.
lots of
if you
things
don't
they can't test you for, like
They didn't like
growth
needle you, did they?
hormones.
pardon me?
They didn't needle you, did they?
Oh God, no.
Oh, they just like, gave you like, what was it, a pill?
Just one of those
Yeah,
big.
physical.
I just watched Pulp Fiction today. That giant adrenaline needle.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Stab him in the
18
heart.
gauge in the heart.
We're gonna win this.
Yeah, fuck.
Oh, where were we?
We're gonna gather our thoughts and take a break because I have a feeling we're about to get off track. Okay, 3, 2, 1, break. Okay, we're back. And we just kind of wanted to backtrack a little bit, kind of summarize what we've already talked about. So we kind of covered steroids and that people can take them for problems, things like that. What else did we talk about? Holy cow, forgot already.
Different they don't all make you huge and muscular.
Yes.
How you're training and how you're using them dictates the results.
They're more beneficial to recovery than anything.
Yeah, they are used by high-level athletes.
Yeah.
Even if they pass the drug test, they're probably still on something or they've cycled off it.
You should rip B3 and epinephrine before your workout so you can minimize warm-up time, apparently.
Yeah. Don't do that. But yeah, so again, just recapping, ergogenic aids, anything that you can use to increase your performance or recovery. Which leads us to one of them, which is more of an environmental one, and this is something we actually experienced here in Canada, specifically here in Alberta, close to Calgary, which is actually Twin Cities with Denver, also known as Mile High.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
Calgary is Denver's Twin City. Which, if you watch the NFL, you'll know this is a big deal because teams going into Denver have a very hard time acclimatizing to that change in altitude.
Every single time, especially in the playoffs, all you'll hear about it all week is how are they going to acclimatize to the altitude and always oxygen masks on the side. It's ridiculous.
It's kind of funny. So what that does, altitude training, there's the saying, train high, compete low. That applies more for endurance athletes, I guess, because when you train at a higher altitude, there's less oxygen in the air, so your body has to work harder and be more efficient to take it in, so it actually increases your red blood cell count.
It's so is it the, I don't know what it is, but your EPO or erythropoietin is the, I guess what would you call it, the hormone, I guess. The hormone in your body that will basically regulate that and just give you more blood cells and a higher blood cell count. So people who live, like you said, in Calgary or Denver are always going to have that than people who live at sea level. So like in Vancouver, like San Francisco, things like that.
Yeah.
Or even
on the West Coast.
Even if it's just not that severe, but even if there is a change in the altitude. I mean, my brother, when he went to Quebec. Was it Quebec or Ontario or wherever for his military training? He was running circles around everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Because his cardio wasn't spectacular, right, before he left, but when he got there, there's just so much more air for him to breathe, so he was going all day, right? So it does definitely make a big difference. Now, what's interesting is there's multiple ways to create this change in your body. So you can train at a high altitude. You can take drugs to enhance it. You can sleep in oxygen chambers.
Yeah, those high altitude masks.
Yeah.
Make you look like Bane.
Yeah.
$80 on Amazon.
Yeah.
Look like a badass. Like an idiot at the gym, but you look pretty cool.
I used to have one when I used to do wrestling.
Really?
Yeah. See, that would make sense.
There's 3 different nozzles
How
you
did
can
you
get.
go to school, man? Holy cow. It's like the ultimate drug performance school. Jesus.
That's funny.
Yeah, 3. Well, actually, that was mine. I just did that shit on the side. But yeah, I mean, I was that kid.
Kevin's special performance school.
Yeah, you see a kid in the field with a gas mask.
You ever had a high altitude mask before?
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, mind you, if you're living in Alberta, you probably don't need those masks anyways. I'm not sure how well that would actually make a difference. But so you can do drugs, train at altitude, sleep in chambers, wear masks, or do blood doping, which is basically where you draw out a certain amount of blood before your event, then you inject it back in, boom, you've got more red blood cells.
That's just fun. I can't even see why you'd want to do that.
Yeah,
it's just
kind
like,
of
performance-wise, but it is like weird, isn't it? Injecting blood into yourself.
Your own blood.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Fucking vampire.
Yeah. So
Shit, that's donkey blood.
yeah. Oh, I got it mixed up.
And the interesting
Start
point
walking
with
around.
that,
Oh.
talking about these aids and everything is 2 of those methods are legal, training at altitude, sleeping in chambers, and 2 of them are banned, but they produce the exact same result. So that's where you get to the point of, it's interesting to think about, we have an advantage over someone training somewhere else.
At sea level.
But if we compete, that doesn't get taken into account. It's fine. Right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like because of the environment and the circumstances, us having that edge is permissible, right?
So on the other way, if you want to beat people from Canada and Alberta, people who live in like the southern states and in California and things like that, where it's so warm, you guys can go outside year round. You can run outside and get acclimatized to that heat. We don't have that heat.
No, it's insane.
It's just cold. So we're stuck indoors, depending how long. I mean, we usually have 8 months of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. I mean, it's as crazy as it sounds.
About 6 hours of daylight in the winter.
Yeah, so we're at a pretty big disadvantage that way.
Now, we kind of touched on this a little while ago. We were talking about how your climate can affect your mood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's, again, your performance and your training is definitely influenced by your environment. And you can almost make an argument where some steroids should be permitted in certain circumstances because that actually levels the playing field, right?
In reality, it does, and that's the problem. It's like that's what everyone has a problem with about steroids, and okay, we'll just say PEDs. Don't even say steroids with PEDs because like, well, now you're at an advantage. Yeah, but if everybody's on it, then it doesn't really matter. Just because you decided to catch someone. And do you ever notice how the only people that catch, like the highest end athletes, like they're trying to make an example?
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to test Joe whoever until he is one of the best.
Yeah, well,
and they
Ben
will.
Johnson, right? Like, didn't matter until he won.
Yep, didn't matter until he won.
And that's a political situation there.
Yeah.
But so anyway, talking about leveling the playing field, and if some countries have better access to them because of their technology and stuff, and they use them better, well, that's like we have access to high altitude, so we train at high altitude. Someone somewhere else at low altitude can't mimic our results just by training, right?
Like, just keep talking. I was trying to fix this. It's gonna start to overheat.
I got.
That's right. It's
Good
hot in
thing with
Canada.
that,
28 degrees.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
A good thing with that altitude training was a good example was when UFC came to Denver. Well, went to Denver, and all the fighters that were training in Denver killed everybody, and you could tell that fighters that were training in California that came to Denver to fight.
Oh yeah, the stamina's way
Yeah.
different.
It was insane, the big difference. I was like, oh well, it might not be that bad for them, but nope, definitely second round in, even if it was like a 3-round fight.
Yeah.
Second round in, the guy from California or wherever was just drained. And I just thought like how fascinating that was.
Yeah, nobody really takes that shit into account.
No.
And this is kind of something that's interesting that I've been thinking about a little while. Is how do you actually decide? Or we're a very competitive species, I think. Like we're the Olympics, we always want to see who's the best. But with stuff like that, you're only the best in that instant, right? Like strength is a constantly varied factor, and that's how you win at a serious competition. You cycle your training so you peak at the right time.
Yeah.
And that's why there's always going to be different people winning.
That's not fair. Tyler, fuck you. That's
Roommate issues.
Let's go in the podcast.
Anyway, so with taking steroids and stuff like that, everyone's obsessed with proving that they're the best. But it's like that altitude thing, right? Well, if we fight in Denver, I'm the best. But if we fight somewhere else, he's the best.
That's why every
right?
single year you need to kind of have the competitions in the same place. I mean, if you're going to.
Yeah.
That's why at some point you're going to have to go play Peyton Manning and the altitude. Is the altitude the problem? No, it's probably Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
All right? Like, go and play the Colorado Avalanche in the NHL. No, they're a good hockey team. That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And
But
we took you out of your environment.
we took you out of your environment, so now you lose.
That level playing field, right?
Yeah.
Like,
But the only way you can argue that is that everybody has to go there.
yeah.
For the most part. I mean, the NFL does things a little differently.
Yeah.
Every team should have to play every team. I think that'd be really interesting. But
Yeah.
But that's a lot of travel. And
It's not really feasible for the schedule and the game and stuff like that.
it's
But
just business.
but that's where steroids can come in and level that playing field out, right?
Yeah.
So then I guess everyone would be the same.
So are we
anymore,
just being naive, thinking that it isn't already a level playing field?
I think the only reason people beat one another at a high level, like in the Olympics, it's not necessarily because of the athlete, it's because of that athlete's environment. Right? Like
Overall. So we're talking about like the stress factors that we had, the coaching, where he lives.
The coaching,
family,
what PEDs are available, diet, stuff like that. So I mean
Your environment around you?
that
Whether you're training in winter or
Chinese weightlifter.
This fucking training in the middle of December.
But Lu Xiaoyun, if that's his name, I probably butchered it, is a good example of that. I mean, he started training when he was 13 years old, so pretty far ahead of everyone in Canada.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Pretty good too.
Yeah, amazing weightlifter. But he also has a team of 3 coaches at every competition.
Yeah.
He has people who will watch him train, who he probably doesn't even talk to, who just relay stuff to his coaches. He has his nutritionists, and he has his doctors who cycle his steroids and stuff, right? So the reason he's better than everyone else is not necessarily because of him, and he is an amazing athlete and an amazing talent, but it's what other people have done with his talent and the opportunities they've given him.
Maximizing.
Yeah, maximizing.
And, like you said at the very beginning of the podcast, you can be great and everything like that, but if the other guy behind you is an 8 out of 10 and you're a 9 out of 10, he takes steroids, now he's 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And you have to do it to catch up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just don't win.
No.
And is it fair? No, probably not. But everyone else is doing it, so why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And it's not to say, everyone else is doing drugs, I gotta do drugs too. That's not what it is. If you
I
wanna
think
win, be competitive.
I think there are some high-level athletes who maybe aren't doing as many or who aren't doing any, but they're probably not winning anything.
Yeah.
No.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like these, well, I do this natural.
Yeah.
Well, it's not always natural because, like, where do you draw the line? So we're going to talk about this. So you can go with, like, just the natural, over-the-counter, normal, everyday supplements.
Yeah, exactly. With, whether you're taking creatine or glutamine, I think, again, different things for different purposes. Glutamine for recovery and making sure your immune system stays intact if you are training, 5 days a week, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Creatine just to help you with that muscle mass. And then protein, basically to build your muscle and keep it intact. The big thing is I always say, if you're an athlete, take glutamine and creatine. A lot of people say
And fish oil, too.
Fish oil, that's a big one. Yeah, help lubricate the joints and just keep a healthy cardiovascular system and brain function, which is what I need. I should take more doses of that.
Fucking eat some tuna.
And probiotics to help.
Now that's a cool one, probiotics.
Help out with the breakdown of protein in your stomach, so it doesn't keep you so gassy.
Yeah.
Only
problem for Kevin.
Yeah, only problem for me. But no, I mean, to be honest, try it out. I mean, there was a client that we had, I won't be saying any names, who does not take supplements, and all that he ate was tuna. And tuna.
Sorry, there's a client, or is this Tom?
No.
Yeah,
we eat Tom pickles and mayo.
Yeah, pickles and mayo.
Don't do dill chips.
And
anyways, this client.
Yeah, he just ate fucking, I don't know how many, like 8 ounces of canned tuna.
He ate a lot.
Does he have die of mercury poisoning?
I don't know, but every day. And you know what he did? He would put in a Ziploc bag, put orange juice in it.
I think he.
I heard this.
I think he only did that once.
Why did he do that though? What was
it doesn't matter.
Curiosity, I guess.
Yeah.
But he was in really good shape.
He was
in
good
not
shape.
the most flexible person I've ever
or
seen. Or
leg strength.
Well, he could jump pretty high, and he was a short little guy. But he was
very,
very fit guy.
Yeah, he was actually.
Okay, so there you go. You want to be fit? Tuna and orange juice.
Well, that's an example of genetics coming into play. I think so. That's something else you have to take into account, right? Genetics are going to definitely influence your results and stuff like that. And some people, to put on muscle mass, they don't need creatine, they don't need protein powder. But if you're a, quote, hard gainer, which probably just means you're not eating enough, something like that can help, right? So it's, again, leveling that playing field, supplement, so add to and fill in for any deficiencies you have, whether that's diet, genetics, training. Supplement your training with accessory workouts.
It's the same thing.
A lot of people are really scared to take protein, just because they say one scoop is about, let's say, how much grams of protein be in one scoop?
25 grams.
25 grams.
Like
and
that.
people are like, oh, well, the kidney can only filter 12. That's wrecking your kidneys.
There's a lot of research that is all completely contradictory to everything. Just like everything else in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
That a grown male, let's say like 6 foot, 200 pounds, whatever, 6 foot 200 pounds, can only process 53 grams of protein every hour to 3 hours, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you right now that most people, like there's some people who will have maybe 100 grams in a meal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, is it maybe going to waste? Yeah, maybe, but you'd have to go to the doctor and get your pee tested and see. But I mean, if that was the case, you'd probably know. Because that's a lot of protein ripping through your kidneys. Because it's not easy to do that.
No, it's not. You're gonna have to be eating a shitload of protein. Dude.
Yeah.
You're fucking up your kidneys.
And that's
But again, like I said, there's nothing definitive on that. Like
Yeah,
that's
well,
what's so
there's-
tough about this industry.
You know, people will.
There's nothing battle tested.
No, people will always research supplements and say, "Oh, it's bad for you." But then you know what? You'll see them on the fucking weekend, just getting blackout drunk, smoking,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
they won't bat an eye to that. But
Yeah.
once you take a protein
Don't
shake,
take creatine though,
yeah,
because I
that's
don't know
gonna
what the
fuck you up.
I don't know what the long term effects of creatine are. I better not.
yeah.
I'll have a cigarette though. Give me
Yeah,
one of
hang
those.
on, smoke
Well,
break.
and that's a good point you bring up is the research aspect of it. If you're going to take anything, I think this goes to like any kind of drug, any kind of medicine. If you're going to drink anything, if you're going to put anything in your body,
Research it.
do yourself a favor and find out a little bit about it and look at it from a risk reward standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Is it if you find out that the long-term result is if you take X amount, blah blah blah, it can lead to some kidney issues, right? Well, is that worth a gold medal before that?
Exactly.
Right? Something like that.
Yes.
Risk versus reward. Educate yourself. Don't take something because someone tells you to.
No.
Mhm.
Don't be
Do
don't
your research.
and now the problem with this is like Dave
This
said,
is very little.
there's very little or there's a lot and it's very contradictory to one another. And keep in mind, this is more so with over-the-counter stuff. The supplement industry is worth millions, probably
Yes.
billions of dollars, and they can fund all the studies they want to show that their stuff is
Yeah.
the best.
The FDA does not regulate the supplement industry.
Exactly.
They just don't. And
So-
they don't get involved.
Yeah, so even within your research your research. Find out where the study came from, how it was run. There was one of my clients made a good point. They took a look at, I think it was like a couple hundred studies published, like peer-reviewed studies, so
Yeah.
they've actually passed academic standards and stuff like that. And they read the abstract, which is like the summary, basically.
Yeah.
And they found in over half of those cases, the abstract did not accurately represent the finding of the study.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy when you
Well,
think
it goes
about
back.
it,
It goes
right?
back to that thing. The biggest piss off in my life is when somebody tells me that you can't have more than an egg a day.
Oh my god.
Your cholesterol
yeah.
will go through the roof. Okay,
No, it won't.
it won't. There's
That's-
literally like there's no research to support that dietary cholesterol will
Oh, fuck.
It is-
influence your arterial cholesterol.
No.
Yeah.
But
And
I'll argue with nurses about this. And it's just like, read
There's-
something from this fucking side of the Stone Age.
there was a
Well,
good
exactly.
good study I read on that. I think they took like
Blood type time.
they took like 50 guys or something, and half of them had 6 eggs a day every day for a couple of months, and the other group had no eggs
Yeah.
for the same amount of time. And there was like almost a minuscule, absolutely like relatively no change in their cholesterol at the end of the time.
Not enough that would have been dictated by eggs.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
We're
Right?
talking like 0.%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like minuscule.
Yeah.
And that's, again, read the research, look through the articles, and because it's cause and effect aren't always related, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they're not.
he did this, and this happened, so because he did X, that caused Y. Well, what else was he doing
Yeah.
in that
between.
time?
Oh, what the hell are we talking about? This was we were having this conversation about okay, so this is totally something related. So it's about fish oil,
Yeah.
okay, and I'm taking something else.
Was I in it?
Oh yeah, sorry, I knew about this. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Okay, so basically, taking your fish oil, the dietary thing. Damn it. Basically, what I was looking at was cancer patients.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well, when they're doing such and such, I think it was like probably saturated fat and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, their risk for cancer increased or something
Mhm.
like that. And it was like, okay, but what else were they doing? It's like, well, they were diabetic before, and
Oh,
they've been
yeah.
sedentary the whole time. And
Oh, duh.
so they're looking at the smallest thing in the world to
Yeah.
say that, oh, this is fish oil is causing cancer.
Yeah.
Or that's what it was. It was the mercury in it or something like
Yeah,
that. I'll go
fucking
back.
stupid.
And I'll definitely clear my name on this because someone's gonna listen to this and be like, "No, you're fucked in the head." But it was something like that where they said but they forgot to mention that 80% of these people were smoking. Type 2 and Type 1 diabetics
Yeah.
have never left their house on a Sunday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But it was fish oil.
and that
Help
was
from
in that book I read, the Paleo Solution, which is an interesting book.
Was that by? Do you know? I think I
Rob Wolf
Rob Wolf.
Okay.
did that one, and that's a very good book if you're looking to lose weight. Very good diet, pretty easy, pretty straightforward.
You might be
Good.
trying to lose weight, just a little
Yeah.
bit better outlook on how
Just
you should
get
eat your food.
Yeah, a good starting point to
Yeah.
what healthy eating should look like.
Yeah, exactly. Good resource, lots of good information, and he made the point in that book that they did a study with like heart disease and related to diet, and they surveyed people on, and the survey was set up how much meat do you eat in a day and how much whatever, right?
Yeah.
But so people would say, I had a pepperoni pizza, I'll put that down as meat.
Yeah.
Well, there's way more
I had a
sugar,
burger.
carbohyde. Yeah, it's
Then there is meat.
I had a burger,
Exactly.
never mind where I got that burger
Yeah,
from.
never
So-
mind the fries I had with it.
Yeah, so the studies can be very misleading in
Yeah.
that aspect. So you have to research anything you're going to put in your body, but research your research.
And yeah, that's the thing. You know, cancer too. I mean, at the end of the day, no one really knows. It's just basically a broken.
It's fucking random.
Yeah.
What is it? It's a broken strand in DNA that
Well,
just
your cell starts to
get
turn
deformed.
radical. It has free radicals,
Yeah.
and your cells basically differentiate and start to attack.
There is some cancers where okay, lung cancer from smoking derp,
Yeah.
but
Oh no!
breast cancer. That's something that's is big genetics,
I
right?
think it's
Yeah.
hereditary now.
That no one knows how it started. No one knows how it gets activated. At the end of the day, you can eat healthy, but I mean,
Genetics.
when my
Genetics in your environment.
yeah, when my best friend's mother passed away from breast cancer, which turned into bone marrow cancer later on after chemo treatment, was that she smoked like a chimney, and she had her beer here and there, but her mother died from breast cancer too, right? So I almost was thinking if we could almost rewind time and say, okay, she doesn't smoke, she doesn't drink, would she still get breast cancer?
Yeah.
Good chance,
Yeah.
There's a good chance you would.
Well, there was this is a story I will always remember. My anatomy teacher told us she knew this guy whose father and grandfather both died of a heart attack when they turned 50. And this guy was like, okay, that's not going to be me. So ate extremely well, very fit, physically active, turned 50, died of a heart attack.
Just
genetics,
Yeah,
right?
That's a pretty crappy deal.
That is. Well, I mean, at least he knew it was coming.
Yeah.
yeah.
Jesus, that's dark.
So genetics definitely are going to influence you.
Yeah.
You can counteract that. You can get around that. You can try and cheat genetics by supplementing your life. You can supplement your life with training, with food, with actual supplements, right?
Yeah.
Anything you add to your life, that's technically a supplement.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yes.
One thing with the food, we haven't really done a super duper great nutrition
No.
one yet.
No.
But obviously we touched on everything because it is everything. But a lot of the food, there's a reason we go back to the paleo diet and we say you should eat. When we say lean and green,
Mm-hmm.
we shop at the regular grocery store.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just a bunch of bachelors and we're not super duper well off where we can go do
Well,
this. But
except
if
for
you
Kevin.
Kevin's
Girlfriend cooks
Yes.
his meals.
yeah.
I'm very thankful for that.
But yeah, very thankful for that. But if you can buy it all organic and everything like that, always I recommend that.
Yeah.
Because most food nowadays, we did say this, that food isn't really food anymore. And it is
Yeah.
injected with hormones and steroids and everything. Like there's human growth hormone in milk, and there's testosterone in
And I love
beef,
milk.
and I've been crushing milk.
Yeah.
And
But it's one of those things.
Yeah, so an interesting fact, like you are going to get some of that through your diet.
Whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
So should they ban milk for athletes because of what
Yeah.
it has in
Yeah,
it, right?
exactly.
So you're not going to get away from it's unless you buy your own cow, buy your own land,
And
do everything yourself. You have no idea what is in your food.
No, exactly.
Have something organic and then have the exact same thing that's not organic, and you tell me what tastes better.
Yeah,
Nutrient density, things like that.
yeah. Avoid packaged food.
Yes.
That's
yeah,
just
nutrition tip of the day. Stay out of the fucking aisles.
yeah.
Easy.
Okay, should we recap?
Okay, recap.
So start with
Ergogenic aids
Ergogenic
are
aids.
anything you can give to help you increase performance.
yeah, whether
Recovery,
that's
muscle mass wise.
Yeah,
steroids.
Yeah.
are for what? What did you just say?
For recovery or muscle mass.
Muscle mass kind of gaining. But again, we look at it from the recovery point because I like that.
Yeah.
So only take that if you want to recover better. If you want to get sleep, inject your ass.
You can get them in pill form.
Yeah, you can. I saw that. I was
yeah.
like, wow.
But yeah, so steroids, vitamins,
The regular supplements like Kevin was talking about.
Creatine,
protein
glutamine,
powders,
protein
stuff
powders.
like that. Training at high altitudes, right? So environmental stuff that can affect it.
Yep.
Increase your red blood cells.
Yeah. And
Blood dope yourself.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't advocate anything that's banned in your sport.
No.
If you're not playing a sport and you want to do steroids, it's not illegal in Canada. Just throwing that out there. But be responsible with it. Research it. Use it properly because it can burn you if you do it
Yes.
improperly.
Yeah.
And I've seen good examples. This fucking idiot. Another similar story.
It's
This
not like
guy-
this podcast, so casual.
This guy who was at the gym when I used to was dabbling in bodybuilding. He asked me to sell steroids for him, and of course I said
I remember this story.
I said no. It was D-ball, and I don't know why he was taking steroids, but he did have a gimped arm, so I was thinking it was for that, but he had the worst side effects. He wasn't big, but he got the acne part of it.
Yeah.
Like his face was broken out, his chest and his back, and it was just the most. If you wanted to see, class A fuck up from steroids, look at him.
Yeah.
But
There's
I
this
guess
guy wandering around and
we should mention that, I guess. Side effects of steroids for men.
back knee, rage.
Yeah.
Uh,
Testicular atrophy, which means
Small nuts.
Yeah, that's
and they
basically
get painful too. People
Yeah.
kind of forget to mention that. That really
Yeah.
hurts.
it. Plus side for guys, all of those are reversible.
Yeah,
Once you
that's
go
true.
off
They've done that,
steroids.
yeah.
Women
Mostly because there is some people. Why actually I know his name. I won't mention it on here. But he did take it,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe some things went back to normal. But like the voice is different, and there's
Well,
a few things that didn't
yeah.
really go back to normal, and you're just kind of like,
Okay.
huh.
Mostly reversible for guys. For
Yeah.
women, it's going to affect you more because it is a bigger change. If you take
Yes.
testosterone, it's going to mess you up pretty
Your body's
badly.
getting pretty.
And most of those changes aren't reversible. So, do your
Getting
research.
hair on your chin,
yeah.
unless you have a thyroid problem.
Unless you're looking
then
for,
you might have
unless
that.
you're looking to win a
Anyways.
November contest.
Yeah. Research it. Educate yourself on it. Again, they're not illegal. You can't sell them in Canada. You can own them and you can take them, but you can't sell them.
Yeah.
So just, and again, I'm not an advocate of steroids. I
Yeah.
don't agree with them,
But
but
disclaimer to this whole podcast.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
not saying you should. We're saying they have a place and that people are taking them.
yeah.
People are listening to this. I'm going to go ahead and say you're probably not Olympians. Probably not
Yeah.
episode 5 anyway.
And in that case, you probably don't need them,
No.
That's a good point.
right? For most people, what you want is perfectly attainable if you eat right, exercise, live a healthy lifestyle, right?
Get enough sleep is a big one.
Yeah. So again, educate yourself on them. Find out the side effects. Make an informed decision. I don't advocate steroids, but I don't advocate bashing them or being narrow-minded about them.
Yes.
They exist.
They exist. They're real. They're not all harmful. They're not. It's not.
They're
They're not.
there for performance and
Yeah.
medical reasons.
Yeah.
In and of themselves, there's nothing wrong with steroids. It's how you use them and how you take them.
Yeah.
That's my final word, I guess.
So that's it. The final word with Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So as you all know, we are on YouTube now, so you can check us out there. Maybe I'll do Spotify in a little bit if I get more time. Could you guys think of anything you got to plug?
No, we've
No.
pretty touched bases with everything, and
Head over, head over to our Facebook. Don't be afraid to share us on your page if you kind of like what you hear. Try to get the word out there. This podcast should have the new logo attached. If you have any comments about that, feel free to shoot us that on YouTube or Facebook.
and give us likes.
And lots of likes and stars and everything like that.
Shares.
Okay, and actually listen to it. I know there's a few people out there, our biggest fans. We won't name their names, but
Listen to it.
listen to it. Okay.
Please.
Okay, we love most of you. Good night.